how has the experience been globally? In the United States, audio recordings were allowed in 1955. Australia has some live and delayed broadcasting. Multiple rules are given for that. In Brazil, live audio video broadcast started in 2002. In Canada, South Africa, United Kingdom, different countries, different systems. What are the learnings internationally which India should really be looking at very carefully?
Sure. First of all, I echo my co-panelist's sentiment that this is an overall positive development where the actual benefits far outweigh the imaginary concerns. And I call them imaginary because we have already tried and tested this particular aspect of live streaming of court proceedings very much here in India. 6 high courts across the country have been live streaming their proceedings for the last 1 year, and the impact has overall been positive. And as you rightly said, several other jurisdictions have been live streaming their proceedings for decades now. And no such concern has truly taken root because overall live streaming comes from the principle of open courts that all judiciary adhere to. And this open courts principle is enshrined in our statute, and it can be traced back to the Constitution, and it has been reiterated across multiple judgments of the Supreme Court. So the purpose of live streaming is it's not something that is new, something that has come into the system only now. The courts are meant to function in a transparent, open manner and ought to be accessible to public at large.
Take a sensitive case. Take, say, a case where there is a communal angle or a national security angle. So far, those are outside the purview of what will be shown live. But going forward, as this becomes more and more commonplace, that could change. Take an Ayodhya judgment, for example. When a case in the Ayodhya judgment is shown live, would there be, in any case, there are concerns? To what extent would those concerns be multiplied?
So this is to do with the process, right? Live streaming and open court principle is what is applicable across board. If that is the way forward, there can be exceptions carved out for cases such as the ones that you just described. In fact, draft rules of live streaming that the E-Committee of the Supreme Court released last year has a detailed list of exceptions, say for matrimonial cases or some cases involving sensitive matters such as POCSO cases, or even on a case-to-case basis, the judges or the panel of judges, if it is say a constitution bench, can take an informed decision. And this can happen on a case-to-case basis. And even litigants themselves can apply to the court requesting the court to not live stream their particular case, and the judge can take a call. So this is a matter of process, and I don't think concerns such as this should actually go back to affecting the overall principle itself.
You're saying that these concerns are imaginary. Give it some time, you'll find that these concerns, Deepika, are very real. These are not imaginary concerns. When a judge starts complaining that one oral observation has been picked out of context and is now viraling on social media and is being used by a certain group to make a certain point, that's a very real world consequence of what is at the outset appearing to be a good idea. But we'll see what happens.
But then the video is available, right, Rahul?
No, but nobody sees the full video. Nobody sees the full video.
But at least
the
it
clip
is there.
That goes viral is just that 30, 40, 50 seconds clip. And I say this with some experience because it happens all the time. And very often isn't what someone is trying to say. But that clip then is viral in such a big way that a point has already been registered without it being the point that the speaker was actually wanting to make. And what if it's a judge who's dealing with a sensitive case at that point? But net, it brings in greater transparency. Maybe we're just being over cautious and playing the role of a Cassandra. It may not necessarily be required. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. There are very real concerns. These are imaginary concerns, very real concerns to my mind. But maybe the net advantages of lawyers having to show up, not seeking adjournment, the client saying, "Mera lawyer kahan hai? Send me the bill," but he's not there. So all of that to some extent does get fixed, and the judge and the lawyers know people of India are watching. So you can't just do a sideshow. Everyone then can later go back to the proceedings. So there are advantages, there are disadvantages. We had a fascinating discussion. I love this.